Welcome to the show. My name's Luke, and I'm joined by champion Cheyenne Hall. Champ, welcome to the show.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Yes.
Sorry, your volume cut out for a second there.
Oh no. Well, I am super excited to have you on the show. We've had you on a bunch. I consider you a friend of the show, and you got it done. You got a title for Bizarro Promotions, and you were kind enough to get the belt for me so you could show it off to everybody. So let's throw that belt up there. There it is. Man, it's exciting to see that, champion. You wrote on Facebook that you're going to have to get bigger loops for your belt, and I wish you could actually wear it around. Just as
this won't fit in any of my jean loops. I tried.
Hey, put it over top. Put it over top. If anybody follows Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Captain always calls it a championship cummerbund. So it's your championship cummerbund.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get down to it. This is super exciting. What's it like being a couple days removed from getting the belt?
Oh man, I don't know. It's like now I'm just starting to think about like what's next, I guess. They asked me that. They always ask you that in the post-fight interview. Like you've had a chance to think about it. I was like, I don't know. But I guess I'm kind of just thinking about what's next. I'm back in the gym today. I went back to practice already because I'm crazy, but it's kind of just what's next. I don't know.
Well, it is always refreshing how much you love the sport, how open you've been on this show and elsewhere. And it's always great to see somebody put it together. You talked going into this fight that you had recently changed gyms up to the Mat Factory and how much that was doing. And from the video I saw that was posted, your wrestling did come into play, and you were talking about being able to have wrestling. So what was it like being able to implement wrestling into an already good game set?
Oh, it's made a huge difference, honestly. So I have been really working this camp on just chaining my striking and my wrestling together. I thought, like, if I can just get those two things to work together, we're going to have something. And so I think I did pretty well at that, especially during this fight. I think it really showed. Like the knee tap that I ended up hitting to take that girl down, I'd been working on that for weeks. So that's something that I did drilled until I just hated it. I was so sick of doing it. And it came into play and it worked out well for me. So.
Well, that takedown that you're talking about began the beginning of the end, and so if you could walk us through that. I saw the video, but for people that may not have, if you could just walk us through what led you to being in position to take the takedown, and then obviously from there things went your way very quickly. So let's just talk that through.
So the first round was just a little bit of like stand-up exchange. There was just a little bit of clinch work against the cage, and had like a little firefight at the end of the first round. Nothing too big happened. And then the second round we came out. I was kind of just trying to play around on the outside a little bit. I'm usually pretty comfortable there. And I used just a setup that I'd been working to get an underhook, my right underhook on that side. And I was able to do the knee tap from that position whenever I got her up against the cage. So I was able to take her down and do the knee tap. And then when we got to the ground, I got into this, it wasn't really knee on belly. It was like a weird quarter or 3/4 mount type deal. But I was able to like square my way into mount, and then I got a TKO finish from there.
Yes, you did. It all happened very quickly, but I was going to ask you, it looked like a second or two, which is a long time in fighting, feels like a long time, where you were kind of in that, you were still on top, but it was a little bit of a scramble. She may have been able to get a guard or maybe put her knees in for some type of shield or, like who knows, but how much were you thinking in that, or how much were you just trying to get to that position? Are you more of a flow state, or are you more of a things slow down and you kind of think it through? Because some fighters are either way.
So that's changed for me in recent fights. Like as I have had more, I was able to think my way through it. So I didn't really need to with that specific position. I've been working on like those floaty guard passes a lot lately. Anyways, I've watched a lot of Gordon Ryan tapes, and he like uses that like floaty pass to get past their legs. Not that I executed that perfectly, but that's kind of what I've been working on in camp. So I was able to kind of think through it. And I remember everything. Like it's I did not for my first couple of fights. It was like, everything happens real fast, but I remember everything. And I remember, like picking my shots and, whenever, cause you can't hit the back of the head and stuff, but she was kind of turning her head this way and that way. And I was just like trying to be very strategic about like not hitting the wrong spot and all that stuff. So I did remember a lot of this fight, and I was able to think my way through things when I was in there, which is a nice change.
Yeah. And before we get back to the end, what does it feel now that you're able to look back and know that because it takes a while for the brain to be able to think through something that is so fast and also adrenaline. So what do you think? How do you think that'll benefit you going forward, being able to think your way through it a little bit more intelligently?
I think that is just something that you have to do if you're ever going to reach the highest levels of the sport. You have to be able to think through the strategic movements, and especially if it's like jujitsu on the ground, you need to be able to like think through your training and think through all that stuff. And you need to be able to keep account of like what is working for you in the fight, what they're doing to defend whenever you throw certain shots or throw feints and stuff. I feel like I get to use my brain now, which is nice. I feel like that's probably my best weapon that I have. Like, I feel like that's probably the best weapon that anybody has. So once you get to a point where you're so nervous that you're not so nervous that you are not able to use your brain, then you level up kind of.
Absolutely. It certainly is. Your brain really is the best weapon you have. And certainly your game has leveled up. It's great to see you as a champion. Getting back to, you made the floaty pass, which I think is important for people that don't maybe know enough or watch enough, that a lot of people, instead of playing the floaty pass game, like you talked about, they settle heavy hips, they get down, which works, it holds a position, but it allows somebody to grab a half guard or full guard. And obviously that's okay in jiu-jitsu, it's okay in MMA, because then you can work a knee pass or a slide pass, you can work one of your passes, but it is kind of all in one if you can just float past it and not have to settle, get locked in, and then break, and then pass and do all that. So you're in mount, she's face up. How many times do you think you hit her before she rolled over? Because she rolled over fairly quickly into a worse position for her.
Yeah. Probably 4. I want to say 4. I've not watched it fully back yet. I'm going to do that tomorrow, but I think it was probably about 4 times. And then she rolled over to like just a belly down position, which was, that's it's not an improvement in position from the
it's not, but bringing back up, I don't know if you were watching MMA, I think it's been about 12 years ago when Johnny Bones Jones lost his undefeated record in the UFC versus Matt the Hammer Hamill. And it was because he was in mount, he was dominating, and he threw a couple illegal elbows in a fight that he was already winning. He could have won without the elbows. And so how aware are you in your training? And obviously you mentioned in the fight being aware of keeping things legal so you don't lose a fight that you're winning, because that's obviously a weird position to be in, but it's happened to fighters before.
Yeah. And it's hard in the moment too, because it's like in your mind, like, okay, hit her in the back of the head, that's fine. But in the moment when like she's squirming, trying to get out of there, and like she's like the person's unwittingly turning the back of their head to you because they're kind of trying to just get out of the way of stuff, right? It's a little harder in there, so you really have to be cognizant of like where you are in relation to where their head is. So I was actually pretty aware of that during that fight, I think, which is something that I always thought, like, if I got in that position, it would be hard to be aware of, but it's not that hard. You just have to pay attention and like soak in the moment,
Well, it really is, because you've done jiu-jitsu tournaments. How much more exciting is it for you as an all-around mixed martial artist to be in that position and not just have to think rear naked choke? Now, obviously, rear naked choke is dominant from that position, but what's it like having more weapons? That's what puts the mixed martial arts in MMA. That's what makes it that, because you're blending things together. How much do you like doing that?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think we had a guy, his name is Jason Sampson, and he came in and did a seminar for us at the Mat Factory a couple weeks ago. And he is of the mindset of that you just like beat the crap out of people until they let you submit them, which is awesome, because you can do that. Like I did think about going for a rear naked choke in that moment as well. I think if I would have thought that she was going to be able to like get get back up to her knees and get like turtle up, I think I would have gone for it then, but I didn't feel like I needed to there. And I really do like that ground and pound style. I think that's probably one of my favorite places to be, just in training and practice. And I always try to like use my jiu-jitsu to get there, to get to a place where I can.
They complement each other. You know, you think of Donald Cowboy Cerrone, who's known primarily for his Muay Thai, took a lot of Muay Thai fights, and had a Muay Thai experience. But when he fought Edson Barbosa, he knocked him down with a stiff jab and then choked him, even though it was a knockdown. And he later said that the best takedown is a knockdown, which is just a great quote. But anyhow,
that's funny.
It's cool. It's a good one. Tell your coaches that. Just say,
I will.
Tell Isaac really, hey, why practice takedowns? I'll just knock them down. Don't do that. Don't do that. But no, it is exciting. I think that's what makes MMA so exciting, is that you can get a finish many different ways. You can take them down like you did with the knee tap. You can knock them down. You can punch them on the ground, like you said, ground and pound, or you can submit them. Now, you mentioned ground and pound, and obviously we've talked about the rule set before and how in novice, you don't have that. So how much do you like using the advanced amateur rules and having ground and pound?
Oh, it's wonderful. I'm so glad that I don't ever have to go back to not using it. It totally changes everything. It changes everything. It changes the way you grapple. It changes all of the stuff. So yeah, it's wonderful. Now I'm just ready I'm waiting for head kicks. Like that's the next thing I want.
Well, and since you brought that up, and since you and I both know that head kicks, at least in Pennsylvania, are only legal when you transition to pro, that's a pretty exciting thing that you're starting to think that way. Is that something that's on the table, or just a matter of continue your progression going?
I figured I would probably put some thought into that in the next couple of weeks. I don't know when that will happen, but I do plan to go pro eventually. I don't know if it'll be soon, or if I could get another amateur fight under my belt beforehand. I'm never gonna feel ready for that, probably. So I never felt ready for any test I ever took. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like I'll never feel like I know enough stuff. So I would like to get another amateur fight under my belt first, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. There's a lot of thinking that goes into it. And either way, whether it's before another amateur or before your pro debut, I'd love to have you back on the show. It's been great to watch your career, both cage side and in the interview process. So I'm a big fan, and it's wonderful you being a champ. I get to now call you champ, which is great, or champ Chey, I guess we could call you. It's
Chey.
Oh, well, see, I messed that up.
That's okay. I fixed it.
Champ Chey. Here we go. Do you want people to start calling you? You know, Henry Cejudo goes by Triple C. You're just going to go by Double C. Champ. There it is. There it is.
Oh, jeez. Oh yeah, me and Henry. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
There it is. It's perfect. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show to talk us through it. And I know people are really excited to see you. You're a very exciting, talented fighter. And obviously now that you have ground and pound, I think ground and pound, if you go way back to like the Randy Couture style, I think that it's kind of funny how MMA sort of goes in cycles. You know, it gets really submission focused for a while, then it goes back to boxing, kickboxing, then it goes back to ground and pound. And we're kind of back in effective ground striking, and how much
I'm here for it.
Yeah, you are here for it.
I'm here for it.
Thanks so much, Champ, for coming on the show. And I can't wait to have you back on before whatever your next fight is. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
All right, bye-bye.